Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Today we will be covering the last leg of the Ādi-līlā of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we'll start from the verse 277, but just for recap's sake, we'll go from 276. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So Ādi-līlā 17.276. स्वमाधुर्य राधा प्रेम रस आस्वादिते राधा भाव अंगीकरे आछे भालो मते। To taste the mellows of Srimati Radharani's loving affairs in her relationship with Krishna, and to understand the reservoir of pleasure in Krishna, Krishna himself as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the mood of Radharani. Purport. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhashya, Sri Gaurasundar is Krishna himself with the attitude of Srimati Radharani. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never gave up the attitude of the gopis. He remained everlastingly predominated by Krishna and never accepted the part of the predominator by imitating conjugal love with an ordinary woman, as Sahajiyas generally do. He never placed himself in the position of a debauchee. Lusty materialists, like the members of the Sahajiya Sampradaya, hanker after women, even others' wives. But when they try to ascribe the responsibility for their lusty activities to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they become offenders to Swarup Damodar and Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. In Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adikhanda 15.17, it is said, Sabe par sthira prati nahi parihas, stri dekhi dure prabhu hoye na ek pash. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never even joked with others' wives. As soon as he saw a woman coming, he would immediately give her ample room to pass without talking. He was extremely strict regarding the association of women. The Sahajiyas, however, pose as followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although they indulge in lusty affairs with women. In his youth, Lord Chaitanya was very humorous with everyone, but he never joked with any woman, nor in this incarnation did he talk about women. The Gauranga Nagari party is not approved by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Vrindavan Das Thakur. Even though one may offer all kinds of prayers to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one should strictly avoid worshipping him as the Gauranga Nagar. The personal behavior of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the verses written by Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur have completely repudiated the lusty desires of the Gauranga Nagaris. So these Gauranganagaris and Sahajiyas, they are actually Apasampradayas. One of the 13 Apasampradayas listed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So their philosophy is being countered here by Srila Prabhupada. So they ascribe the predominator position for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself personally accepted the predominated position, and especially in regards to women, they portray him as the predominator. Krishna dancing with other people's wives is not actually debauchery. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. So when the Supreme Personality of Godhead performs his pastimes, that is never a debauchery because everyone's eternal relationship is actually with Krishna. But if an ordinary person imitates that, then he will become a debauchee. But because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is he is Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam. So he came as Bhaktavataram, as a devotee incarnation of Krishna. So he always maintained that mood of being a devotee. And in the mood of a devotee, one has to be always a predominated and not try to be the predominator. In fact, that is the entire journey of Krishna consciousness, from the false notion of being a predominator to the constitutional position of being a predominated. That means now we are trying to be the enjoyer of the material world. We have to change that and become the enjoyed, to be enjoyed by Krishna. So that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, to actually show the example of how to be a devotee. And because his position is like that, he never accepted, like the example is given here, he always dealt very strictly and very cautiously with women. Of course, he does not need any caution. He does not need to be afraid of anything, but we need to be afraid of Maya. And to teach us the lesson, he showed the example of how to be always cautious about Maya in the form of a woman. Because nothing in this world binds a man stronger than a woman. And that is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam in a couple of places, almost exactly the same verse, just a little bit different. Um, न तथास्य भवेन्मोहो बन्धश्चान्यप्रसङ्गतः योषित्सङ्गाद्यथा पुंसो यथा तत्सङ्गिसङ्गतः. The infatuation and bondage which accrue to a man from attachment to any other object is not as complete as that resulting from attachment to a woman or to the fellowship of men who are fond of women. So no attachment is stronger than the attachment to a woman, and everything becomes tightly binding. And the same thing is explained in the 11th canto as well. Only difference is this word. Instead of moho, it is now klesho. न तथास्य भवेत् क्लेशो बन्धश्चान्य प्रसङ्गतः योषित् सङ्गाद्यथा पुंसो यथा तत्सङ्गि सङ्गतः. Of all kinds of suffering. There it was said of all kinds of bondage. Here of all kinds of suffering and bondage arising from various attachments. None is greater than the suffering and bondage arising from attachment to women or from intimate contact with those attached to women. The attachment to women is so bad that even if we attach ourselves to a person who is attached to a woman, that means that is second-hand attachment to women. Even that is bad. So, not only direct attachment with women, but also of attachment to those people who are attached to women. And therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu maintained very strict this thing. So, Madhyam. निष्किञ्चनस्य भगवद्भजनोन्मुखस्य पारं परं जिगमिषोर्भवसागरस्य सन्दर्शनं विषयिणाम् अथ योषितां च हा हन्त हन्त विषभक्षणतोऽप्यसाधु. Alas, for a person who is seriously desiring to cross the material ocean and engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord without material motives, seeing a materialist engaged in sense gratification, or seeing a woman who is similarly interested is more abominable than drinking poison willingly. Quotation from Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is saying this verse. So, that was the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he also said in the Shikshashtaka, what is that? Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. He doesn't want any sundari in his life. So that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But these Gauranga Nagaris and Sahajiyas, they not only ascribed the predominated position to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but also themselves accept the predominator position, especially the Sahajiyas. And they play around with other people's wives. So which is nonsense. गोपी भाव जाते प्रभु धरिया छे एकांत ब्रजेंद्र नंदन माने आपनार कांत. Okay, so just before we proceed, why this is being explained here is because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if you remember what we discussed in the previous session, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, and that was because he was being criticized for chanting the gopis' names by by an immature student. So he thought that if I accept sannyas, at least because I'll be a sannyas, and so people will respect me, and in that way they don't offend me, because I am the only way out for them from this material world, especially in this Kali Yuga. And if they offend me also, then what chance will they have to go back to Godhead? So to save them from such offenses, let me take sannyas. This was the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that's how he took sannyas. Now that sannyas incident, taking of sannyas, is briefly mentioned in just a few verses, handful of verses previously, prior to this. And now the topic is coming back to the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting the gopis' names. Now we cannot chant the gopis' names like that, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because we should not imitate him. He is in a very high position. He is experiencing Mahabhava in the mode of Radharani. So we cannot imitate him. We should follow his instruction, which is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So the immature student, whose question was, why are you chanting gopis' names? You should chant Krishna's names. What piety you will get by chanting gopis' name? You should chant Krishna's name, then you will get piety. So that is also rebutted in those verses where it is said that we are not chanting Krishna's names to get some piety. Eighth offense is to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna to be one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas for fruitive gain or karma kanda. So karma kanda activities are there to give us some material benefit. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not for that. One should not chant it for that purpose. So that is also refuted, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saved them from criticism. And of course, he became angry with that immature student because he was in the mood of Radharani in the Brahmara Gita. We have read that in the previous session. But the student took it another way, and then he went around saying to everybody that, oh, you see, this person is not only chanting gopis' names, which are a deviation, and when I corrected him, he got angry with me and he tried to beat me up. So, it became a false rumor against him, false allegation against him. So the offense towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was spreading. So that was the concern of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and therefore he took sannyas. But then the position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very much being established again. Why he was chanting the gopis' names, what is his mood in doing so that we get an understanding why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing that. So, गोपी भाव जाते प्रभु धरिया छे कांत व्रजेंद्र नंदन माने आपनार कांत. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the mood of the gopis who accept Vrajendra Nandana, Sri Krishna, as their lover. So if you read Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu or Nectar of Devotion, you will read that if you want to follow in the footsteps of the gopis, of course this instruction is for very high grade devotees, then if they want to follow in the have a relationship similar to that of the gopis with Krishna, they have to not try to directly develop that relationship on their own. They should follow in the footsteps of such already liberated souls, such as the gopis or the residents of Vrindavan, or Nanda Maharaj or Yashoda Maya, and then follow in their footsteps, taking them as their leader. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always considers himself as Gopi Bhartuh Padakamalayur Dasa Dasanu Dasa. I am the servant of the gopis, a servant of the servant of the servant of the maintainer of the gopis. So, like there are Priya Narma Sakhis, there are Priya Sakhis, and then there are Sakhis, and then there are Manjaris, and so there is gradation of intimacy with Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the significance of such dasanudasa position is that the more one is servant, the more one is not maintaining the proximity with Krishna in the relationship, the more he actually enjoys the bliss of Krishna consciousness. This is very paradoxical. Usually, the nearest person to Krishna will be enjoying the most. But in spiritual life, the farther one is, not the farther exactly, but servant of the 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 servant. So that however how much one is servant of the servants, that much one enjoys the bliss of Krishna consciousness. So it is not only for the sake of enjoying it, but that humility is to become a servant of the servant of the servant. So that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood. And that's why he was chanting the names of the gopis so as to seek their mercy in order to serve Krishna under their tutelage. So that was the whole thing. Accepted the mood of the gopis who accept Rajendra Nandana as their lover. Shivranj is asking, so it's like an inversely proportional relationship. Um, well, in crude terms, we can say like that. Yeah. गोपिका भावेर ऐसु दृढ़ निश्चय ब्रजेंद्र नंदन विना अन्यत्र न होय. It is firmly concluded that the ecstatic mood of the gopis is possible only before Krishna and no one else. श्याम सुंदर शिखिपिच्छ गुंजा विभूषण गोपवेश त्रिभंगिमा मुरली वदन. He has a bluish complexion, a peacock feather on his head, a gunja garland, and the decorations of a cowherd boy. His body is curved in three places and he holds a flute to his mouth. इहा छाड़े कृष्ण जदि होय अन्याकार गोपिकार भावना ही जाय निकटता हार. If Lord Krishna gives up this original form and assumes another Vishnu form, nearness to him cannot invoke the ecstatic mood of the gopis. Wait, what is this? गोपीनां पशुपेन्द्रनन्दनजुषो भावस्य कस्तां कृते विज्ञातुं क्षमते दुरूहपदवी सञ्चारिणः प्रक्रियाम् आविष्कुर्वति वैष्णवीमपि तनुं तस्मिन् भुजैर्जिष्णुभिर्यासां हन्त चतुर्भिरद्भुतरुचिम् रागोदयः कुञ्चति. Once Lord Sri Krishna playfully manifested himself as Narayana, with four victorious hands and a very beautiful form. When the gopis saw this exalted form, however, their ecstatic feelings were crippled. Even a learned scholar, therefore, cannot understand the gopis' ecstatic feelings. which are firmly fixed upon the original form of Lord Krishna as the son of Nanda Maharaj. The wonderful feelings of the gopis in ecstatic Paramarasa with Krishna constitute the greatest mystery in spiritual life. This is a quotation from the Lalita Madhava 6.15 by Srila Rupa Goswami. I mean, this is the preference of the gopis, and similarly, Hanuman has the preference for Lord Ramachandra. His feelings of dasyam or servitude were crippled when he saw Krishna and Rukmini. He did not have the same mood as when he saw Sita and Ram. For him, Sita and Ram is his worshipable deities. So for the gopis, for the Madhurya Rasa, for the Parakiya Madhurya Rasa to manifest, only Krishna's form would, you know, give them their satisfaction. And Krishna's form is the highest form because, and especially in Vrindavan, because he manifests all the rasas to the maximum limit. Whereas if you see in Dwaraka, for example, his enjoyment or his interaction with his devotees in Madhurya Rasa stops at Swakiya Madhurya Rasa, which is um, as a wedded wife, the queens of Dwaraka worship Krishna, but not as a paramour. Paramour, worshipping him as a paramour is way higher even because it has more flavor of it has the complete rasa, whereas everything else is subset of that rasa. Paragya Madhurya Ras also has dasam involved already. It has Sakhyam, it has Madhurya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, and Paragya Madhurya. All flavors are there in that. Vatsalya, not in the sense that they consider him as a um, son, but the protective nature. For example, the gopis were saying that, "Oh Krishna, you are going to the forests of Vrindavan, and your feet are, you know, placed upon so many rocks. We know that even a blade of grass would make your feet red. How are you, um, walking over all the hard rocks of the forests and the thorny bushes or whatever are there?" They think that they want to keep the lotus feet of Krishna on their breasts, but they think that his feet are too soft for their hard breasts. So they consider their breasts to be too hard for Krishna to keep his lotus feet. So that is a kind of, your Mother Yashoda would have similar feelings, but of course in a different way. Not Madhurya, but Vatsalya. Protective. Oh, how are you faring there? Why are you not coming back? Why is it a little bit late today? How are you, um, traveling over the forest? Being very concerned. So that feelings the gopis already have, but they have in a different flavor and a much higher flavor. So that is the Paramarasa. And that is the greatest mystery in spiritual life. And even in the Parakya Bhava, the Vipralambha Bhava is the topmost, which is the service in separation, which is even greater than the service in meeting. So it looks like Krishna was only there in Vrindavan for about the first 15 years or so. But actually, their association with Krishna was much more enhanced when Krishna actually left Vrindavan. Although he never leaves Vrindavan because, you know, of the remembrance of the Vrindavan Vasis, but when he apparently left Vrindavan for Mathura and Dwarka, that's when the intensity of the gopis' love increased even more. Such madness as exhibited by Radharani during the Brahmara Gita in the presence of Uddhava was not manifest when Krishna was there in Vrindavan. And that is very, very high ecstasy. Vipralambha bhava. वसंत काले रास लीला करे गोवर्धने वसंतकाले रासलीला कोरे वसंतकाले रासलीला कोरे गोवर्धने अंतर्धान कोयला संकेत कोरे राधासने. During the season of springtime, when the rasa dance was going on, suddenly Krishna disappeared from the scene, indicating that he wanted to be alone with Srimati Radharani. निभृत निकुंजे वसी देखे राधार बाट अन्वेषित आयला ताहा गोपिकार ठाट. Krishna was sitting in a solitary bush waiting for Srimati Radharani to pass by, but while he was searching, the gopis arrived there like a phalanx of soldiers. दूर होते कृष्ण देखी बोले गोपी गण ए देख कुंजर भीतर व्रजेंद्र नंदन. Just see, the gopis said, seeing Krishna from a distant place. Here within a bush is Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj. Gopi gana dekhi Krishner hoilo sadvasa lukaite narilo bhoye hoila vibasha. As soon as Krishna saw all the gopis, he was struck with emotion. Thus he could not hide himself, and out of fear he became motionless. चतुर्भुज मूर्ति धरे आछन वसिया कृष्ण देखी गोपी को है निकटे आसिया. Krishna assumed his four-armed Narayan form and sat there. When all the gopis came, they looked at him and spoke as follows. Iho Krishna nahe iho Narayana murti eto boli tare sobhe kore nati stuti. He is not Krishna. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana. After saying this, they offer obeisances and the following respectful prayers. Namo Narayana Deva Koroho Prasad Krishna Sanghe Deho Mor Ghuchaho Vishad. O Lord Narayana, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Kindly be merciful to us. Give us the association of Krishna and thus vanquish our lamentation. Purport. The gopis were not made happy even by seeing the four-armed form of Narayan. Yet they offered their respects to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and begged from him the benediction of achieving the association of Krishna. Such is the ecstatic feeling of the gopis. Now, devotees of Krishna, especially in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, hold this same view. For example, Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to worship Gopishwar Shiva. So he used to worship Shiva as Gopishwar. Why did he worship Lord Shiva? He used to worship Shiva to seek his blessings, to seek his mercy, to enter Ādi-līlā. Because Gopishwar Shiva was, he was guarding the Ādi-līlā venue. So, in order to gain entrance into Ādi-līlā, he was, begging Lord Shiva to admit him inside. This is a very spiritual, transaction. But we cannot imitate this in our current level. We should follow our acharyas' instructions, which is to worship Krishna. All respects to Lord Shiva, yes, but we should not worship him. Similarly with Ganesh. Although Rupa Goswami instructs us to worship Ganesh in order to remove all the obstacles in our service to Krishna, it will quickly, because of our problematic nature of past association with demigod worship, we are not advised, we are ordered not to worship Lord Ganesha by Srila Prabhupada. But it is not that we become disrespectful to Ganesha, of course not. But we should not do it because Acharyopasana is a greater principle in spiritual life. Whatever may be the Siddhanta, of course the Guru doesn't go against Siddhanta, but sometimes for reasons, for very valid reasons, and sometimes which we may not understand entirely, but sometimes we can understand. Whichever it is, the order of the Guru is more powerful than any other other instruction, even if it seemingly transgresses the Vedic injunctions. Now, Um, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, in his Navadvip Dham Mahatmya, if I'm not wrong, so he composed 5 verses for Lord Narsimadev. And his prayer to Lord Narsimadev is to remove all the obstacles. And he actually can see in Mayapur the Ishodhyan, the garden of the Lord, which is not visible to us. It is a spiritual garden, vastly expansive. And in that garden, Ishodhyan, there is a temple of Lord Narsimhadev that Bhaktivinoda Thakur sees. And that's what he wrote in the Navadvip Dham Mahatmya. So there he happens to come in front of the Narsimhadev deity and request him, fall down at his feet and request him, beg him to remove all his obstacles in serving Krishna. So that is the mood in which we approach Lord Narsimhadev. Remove obstacles in my service to Krishna. That is the prayer a Gaudiya Vaishnava would offer to Lord Narsimhadev. So even the expansions of Krishna, one has to approach them if one has the chance, not particularly worship them as such. But if he chances upon, say, a temple of Lord Vishnu or Lord Narasimha, we have to pray to them to increase our or protect our devotional service to Krishna. That is the mood. And therefore, even in our temples, when Lord Narasimhadev is being worshipped, although Prabhupada introduced the worship of Narasimhadev, because there were dangers in the matter of preaching, and in order for protecting the devotees, protecting one's devotional service to Krishna, so Narasimhadev worship was introduced by Prabhupada. Even though he did that, he said that the Narasimhadev deity should be separate. Narasimhadev deity altar should be separate from the main altar. Although it is Lord Krishna himself, it's the same as Lord Krishna, but it is separately. So if you go and see Mayapur, actually that's where it started, because people were attacking the devotees, the local Bengalis. So at that time he introduced. So if you see, the Narasimhadev altar is completely separate from the main altar. And even in our altar, of course, we don't have so much space to have many, many altars. But even in the same altar, Narasimhadev is in the step lower than Krishna. We used to have like 4, and the last was Narasimhadev on the same platform, but it was separate because convenience, because that was how it was. But when our Jagannath deities became big, and Narasimhadev deity also became big, because we used to have a very small Narasimhadev deity before, many, many years ago. I'm talking about 15 years ago. Then we had 16 years ago, I think. Then after that, we had Narasimhadev deity bigger. So that space was also not enough. It was a very small space. So we put another step down, and there is Narasimhadev deity placed on our altar. So that is the proper way. Not that Narasimhadev is anything lesser than Krishna, but Krishna is the Adi Purusha, Govindam Adi Purusham. Krishna and Narasimha are same, but Krishna exhibits the highest limit of attractive features of Bhagavan, all the 64 qualities, and he also accommodates the largest range of devotees, from Shantaras to Madhurya, Parakiya, Vipralambha Madhurya Ras. So all the range of devotees can interact with Krishna, whereas you cannot have Madhurya Ras with Narasimhadev. You have to have dāsa ras. Even Sakhya ras is not possible. You cannot say, "Oh, hi Narasimhadev." You can't do that. There is always dasam. So, um, so that is the thing. एट बोली नमस्करी गेला गोपी गण हेन काले राधा आसी-लीला दर्शन. After saying this and offering obeisances, all the gopis dispersed. Then Srimati Radharani came and appeared before Lord Krishna. राधा देखी कृष्ण तारे हास्य करते, সেই চতুর্ভুজ মূর্তি চাহেন রাখিতে. When Lord Krishna saw Radharani, he wanted to maintain the four-armed form to joke with her. लुकाइला दुई भुज राधार अग्रेते, बहु जत्न कइला कृष्ण नारिल राखिते. In front of Srimati Radharani, Sri Krishna had to hide the two extra arms. He tried his best to keep four arms before her, but he was completely unable to do so. It's not about just the two arms. Why he can't, show just arms? It's nothing, right? But it's just the two arms. It's a whole mode of interaction with uh, his topmost devotee, Radharani. It's not just about the arms, it's the entire mood of it, mood of the form. राधार विशुद्ध भावे अचिंत्य प्रभाव, जय कृष्ण रे कराइला द्विभुज स्वभाव. The influence of Radharani's pure ecstasy is so inconceivably great that it forced Krishna to come to his original two-armed form. So from here we can understand one thing. The mood of the devotee influences the Lord as to which form he would come in front of him. And this is actually explained in a few verses. There is one verse which I do not remember, but this verse comes to mind. त्वं भक्तियोगपरिभावितहृत्सरोज आस्ते श्रुतेक्षितपथो ननुनाथ पुंसाम् यद्यद्धियात उरुगाय विभावयन्ति तत्तद्वपुः प्रणयसे सदनुग्रहाय. Okay, the first two verses are one subject. The first two lines and second two lines are different subjects. So let's read the whole thing. O my Lord, your devotees can see you through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing, and thus their hearts become cleansed and you take your seat there. You are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you. So you are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you. So, like for example, Hanuman, when he opened his chest, he showed Sita and Ram there. But if you see the Bhagavatam, the description of Paramatma is that in the heart, he is situated on a lotus flower in 8 inches height and it is four-armed form. But because of the devotion of Hanuman being in a particular mood, that particular mode became manifest in the heart of Hanuman. So similarly, Radharani worships him as Krishna. So Krishna could not hide that form. Just like for Hanuman, he could not hide the form of Ram in his heart. So, but as you see, the moods, this is a very, very, very confidential thing. We are not discriminating between Krishna or Vishnu or Ram or Narsimha or Vamana, all these forms. But it's a very confidential truth that Krishna is the origin or the original person from whom the expansions of the other forms emanate. And Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure in all rasas. Okay, some people are just blabbering in the comment section. Please stop it. If you have things to say and you just want to say your thing and don't want to listen, you can always go out. But if you're here, please know how to listen, learn how to listen. Okay? And even if you have to question, your question has to be submissive, not in the not in the manner in which you are. You are trying to challenge and speak nonsense in the comment section. So don't do that. You should know how to even listen. So purport. No, this is 3911. Sorry. So let's go back. So the influence of Radharani's pure ecstasy is so inconceivably great that it forced Krishna to come to his original two-armed form. Now, this is also mentioned in this verse in Bhagavad Gita, but it is not so evident. The full meaning of this is not evident, but if we see this verse, ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. So this means that as all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. As one surrenders unto him, he rewards him accordingly. So if he surrenders in the Madhurya Ras, he will reward accordingly. He surrenders in Dasa Ras, he will reward accordingly. So in that. So every verse has a lot of layers of depth. Of course, Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, but as one becomes advanced in devotional service, the more and more depth will be realized. And that is also this is also mentioned in Brahma Samhita. Yadrishi yadrishi shraddha siddhir bhavati tadrishi. That means the realization will correspond to the nature of one's faith. So siddhi, the perfection, is dependent on our shraddha. And this shraddha, the more we have shraddha in Krishna, the more we become advanced, the more we will be rewarded by Krishna. And also this also means in which mood one has one's relationship. Similarly, accordingly, Krishna rewards him. So Radharani's mood is the topmost, and he cannot give her anything less. You know, just like when somebody serves you very nicely, you feel very obliged to that person, and you want to do as much as you want. As much as you can to satisfy the person. So similarly, Radharani's mood is so great, her ecstatic love is so great that Krishna cannot reward her with any other form other than his original 200 form, with which he has the highest mood. With even gopis he could hide, but with Radharani cannot. Let's see, what is this? रासारम्भविधौ निलीय वसता कुञ्जे मृगाक्षी गणैर्दृष्टं गोपयितुं स्वमुद्धुरधिया या सुष्ठु सन्दर्शिता राधायाः प्रणयस्य हन्तमहिमा यस्य श्रिया रक्षितुम् सा शक्या प्रभविष्णुनापि हरिणा नासीत् चतुर्बाहुता. Prior to the rasa dance, Lord Krishna hid himself in a grove just to have fun. When the gopis came, their eyes resembling those of deer, by his sharp intelligence he exhibited his beautiful four-armed form to hide himself. But when Srimati Radharani came there, Krishna could not maintain his forearms in her presence. This is the wonderful glory of her love. Purport. This is a quotation from Ujjwal Neelamani, Nayika Bheda 7 by Sri Rupa Goswami. Shevrajeshwar iha Jagannath Shevrajeshwar iha Jagannath Pita Shevrajeshwari iha Shachi Devi Mata. Father Nanda, the king of Vrajabhumi, is now Jagannath Mishra, the father of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Mother Yashoda, the queen of Vrajabhumi, is now Shachi Devi, Lord Chaitanya's mother. Shri Nanda Sutta iha Chaitanya Gosai, Shri Baladeva iha Nityananda Bhai. The former son of Nanda Maharaj is now Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the former Baladev, Krishna's brother, is now Nityananda Prabhu, the brother of Lord Chaitanya. वात्सल्य दास्य सख्य तीन भावमय शय नित्यानंद कृष्ण चैतन्य sorry वात्सल्य दास्य सख्य तीन भावमय शय नित्यानंद कृष्ण चैतन्य सहाय. Sri Nityananda Prabhu always feels the ecstatic emotions of paternity, servitude, and friendship. He always assists Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in that way. Prema bhakti diyate ho bhasala jagate tar charitra loke na pare bujite. Sri Nityananda Prabhu overflooded the entire world by distributing transcendental loving service. No one can understand his character and activities. So now it is going to Nityananda Prabhu and then now Advaita Acharya. अद्वैताचार्य गोसाई भक्त अवतार कृष्ण अवतारी या कोयला भक्तिर प्रचार. Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu appeared as an incarnation of a devotee. He is in the category of Krishna, but he descended to this earth to propagate devotional service. Just a second. सख्य दास्य दुई भाव सहजता हार कभु प्रभु करेन तारे गुरु व्यवहार. His natural emotions were always on the platform of fraternity and servitude, but the Lord sometimes treated him as his spiritual master. श्रीवासादि जत महाप्रभुर्भक्तगण निज निज भावे करेन चैतन्य सेवन. All the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, headed by Srivas Thakur, have their own emotional humors in which they render service unto him. पंडित गोसाई आदि जार जय रस शेषे रसे प्रभु होन तारवश. Personal associates like Gadadhar, Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Rai, and the six Goswamis headed by Rupa Goswami are all situated in their respective transcendental humors. Thus, the Lord submits to various positions in various transcendental mellows. So here, Nityananda Prabhu has Sakhya, Dasya, I think also Vatsalya, and then, you know, Advaita Acharya, Sakhya, and Dasya. Srivas Thakur and other devotees have their own moods. So, in that way, um, he accepts their positions and submits to various positions in various transcendental mellows. Purport. In verses 296 through 301, the emotional devoted service of Sri Nityananda, Sri Advaita Prabhu, and others has been fully described. Describing such individual service, the Gaur Ganodesha Deepika 11 through 16 declares that although Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as a devotee, he is none other than the son of Nanda Maharaj. Similarly, although Sri Nityananda Prabhu appeared as Lord Chaitanya's assistant, he is none other than Baladev, the carrier of the plough. Advaita Acharya is the incarnation of Sadashiva from the spiritual world. All the devotees headed by Srivas Thakur are his marginal energy, whereas the devotees headed by Gadadhar Pandit are manifestations of his internal potency. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu all belong to the Vishnu Tattva category. Because Lord Chaitanya is an ocean of mercy, he is addressed as Mahaprabhu, whereas Nityananda and Advaita, being two great personalities who assist Lord Chaitanya, are addressed as Prabhu. Thus, there are two Prabhus and one Mahaprabhu. Gadadhar Goswami is a representative of a perfect Brahmana spiritual master. Srivas Thakur represents a perfect Brahmana devotee. These five are known as the Pancha-tattva. तिह श्याम वंशी मुख गोप विलासी यह गौर कभु द्विज कभुत सन्यासी. In Krishna Lila, the Lord's complexion is blackish. Holding a flute to his mouth, he enjoys as a cowherd boy. Now the self same person has appeared with a fair complexion, sometimes acting as a Brahmana and sometimes accepting the renounced order of life. अतएव अपने प्रभु गोपी भाव धरी व्रजेंद्र नंदन कहे प्राणनाथ करी. Therefore, the Lord himself, accepting the emotional ecstasy of the gopis, now addresses the son of Nanda Maharaj. O master of my life, O my dear husband. Shai Krishna Shai Gopi Parama Virod Achintya Charitra Prabhur Ati Sudurbodh. He is Krishna, yet he has accepted the mood of the gopis. How is it so? It is the inconceivable character of the Lord which is very difficult to understand. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually a great mystery. Purport: Krishna's accepting the part of the gopis is certainly contradictory according to mundane calculations, but the Lord, by his inconceivable character, may act like the gopis and feel separation from Krishna, although he is Krishna himself. So, this is also exhibited. He also played the part of the gopas in the Brahma Vimohan Lila, right? When Brahma took the cowherd boyfriends and even the cows and the calves, he manifested himself as the cowherd boyfriends and the cows and the calves. Sorry, calves, not the cows. He was tending to the cows. So he became the calves, he became the cowherd boys. So he accepted the position there also of his own devotees as the gopas. And he played exactly the same way as the gopas would play their role. And he accepted the role of the cows as well, exactly as they would do it. So when Krishna says in this Bhagavad Gita that Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, asking us to surrender, he is not in need of any servants, because if there was any need at all, he would just expand himself as that servant and serve him. And in fact, Shesha, Adi-Shesha. Shesha means the end of all service. Baladev or Balram serves him completely. That's why his name is Shesha. Shesha means end. He has reached the end of service. Completely serves him in all respects. So, what service does he need from us? He does not need. If there was anything, if there was any need, sometimes when there is no qualified living entity to be Brahma, to govern the universe, he himself becomes Brahma. So he has no need for any of us. But he gives the chance to us to serve him, and we should not think falsely that Krishna depends on our service, or his movement similarly depends on our service. Oh, if I am not there, the temple will not run. Crap! The temple will run. Nevertheless, either he will come himself or he will put somebody else, he will empower someone else to run the temple, his mission, or if he wants to take his mission somewhere else, he will do that. He will do anything. He can do anything. So we should never have this feeling that we are indispensable. We are always dispensable. This is a rather technical question. If he expanded himself personally as the cowherd boys and calves, why were they Vishnu forms and not multiple Krishnas? Well, to show Brahma that, this is because for him, Vishnu, because Vishnu was the source of him. From the navel of Vishnu he came. And to show that this is the same Vishnu, because he was thinking Krishna to be a cowherd boy. But he knew Vishnu was the all, powerful Supreme Personality of Godhead. And before Krishna came, Brahma went to the Shvetadvip. And on the shore of the ocean, he was offering the prayers. And Krishna instructed him that, okay, you now instruct the demigods to take birth on the earth, and then I will bring my personal associates and I will come. So he knew Vishnu to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but when he came as Krishna, he was doubtful whether this is the same Vishnu. I mean, is he really that same Supreme Personality of God? Because he took him as an ordinary cowherd boy. Then he manifested as all the multiple Vishnu forms to show that I am the same Vishnu you prayed to. So I'm not an ordinary cowherd boy, I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's the thing. So he may act like the gopis and feel separation from Krishna, although he is Krishna himself. Such a contradiction can be reconciled only in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because He has energy that is inconceivable, achintya, which can make possible that which is impossible to do. Aghata ghatana patiyasi. Aghata ghatana patiyasi. Such contradictions are very difficult to understand unless a devotee strictly follows the Vaishnava philosophy under the direction of the Goswamis. Therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ends every chapter with this verse. Shri Rupa Raghunate, Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Jar As, Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. In a song by Narottam Das Thakur, it is stated, रूप रघुनाथ पदे होइबे आकुति कबे हम बुझबो se jugal piriti. The conjugal love between Radha and Krishna, which is called Yugala Priti, is not understandable by mundane scholars, artists, or poets. It is simply to be understood by devotees who strictly follow in the footsteps of the six Goswamis. Sometimes, so called artists and poets try to understand the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna, and they publish cheap books of poetry and pictures on the subject. Unfortunately, however, they do not understand the transcendental affairs of Radha and Krishna even to the smallest degree. They are simply meddling in a matter in which they are not fit even to enter. So, this is the reason why we cannot write songs on Krishna. We can just, even if you want to write poetry, we should write at our level to the spiritual master, or even if it is to Krishna, being true to our position. Just like we are encouraged to write articles um, by Prabhupada in our Back to Godhead magazine, in our case, Science of Godhead magazine, or in our online forums. But we should write at our level. We should not delve into topics which are way beyond our capacity to understand even. Um, so again, I'll read it. I'll read this again. So you see, it's very very important because I have known a couple of devotees at least who tried to write um, poems on Krishna, and their personal character and their personal behavior with devotees was despicable, and yet they write some real high fly, what is that, highbrow poems on Krishna. So once one of the you know devotees' husband, he asked me to read some poem of Krishna written by the devotee. I said, yeah, but I never read it. I just told him that one has to learn how to first associate with devotees and become humble and follow the order of the spiritual master and not reject any teaching. Because that particular devotee was very much against the idea that women need to be submissive to men, which is part of our Vedic scriptures and which also Prabhupada reiterated many, many times. That is the proper social structure, that is the Sri Dharma. But that devotee had feminist ideas, strong feminist ideas, and never could accept the authority properly. And yet, that person wanted to submit song on Krishna. So I was not too much interested in even reading it. So I expressed myself saying that no, you know what, first you should learn how to associate with devotees and become humble first. That's the first thing. And then only these things have any meaning. And songs about Krishna, one has to be extremely, one, and I also told him that, see, we must sing the songs that are written by the acharyas. We should not concoct something. Okay, so that is the proper way to do. That is called anukirtanam, singing in the footsteps of the devotees. How does Bhaktivinoda Thakur write? I am so fallen. I'm worse than the demons. I'm you know what is that? He says paradukha Parasukha dukhi sada mithya bhashe. Paradukha sukha kore. So he says, I'm elated when I see others in distress because I feel myself as better and I'm superior. And when they are happy, I am distressed. This is my position. How far I am in from Krishna Seva or Krishna Bhakti. So that's how he is portraying himself. And here I am that I'm trying to, describe Krishna and who am I? So there has to be humility in this. So I'll read this again, the last part of this purport. The conjugal love between Radha and Krishna, which is called Jugala Preeti, is not understandable by mundane scholars, um, artists, or poets. It is simply to be understood by devotees who strictly follow in the footsteps of the six Goswamis. Sometimes so called artists and poets try to understand the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna and they publish cheap books of poetry and pictures on the subject. Yeah, artists as well. They try to, draw Krishna in a not at all respectful way. And also sometimes they do Radha Krishna with face, eyes not there, just like an abstract art. This is all crap. This is all offensive. One should not do like that. One should paint pictures of Krishna as Prabhupada wanted his devotees to paint. Realistic and nice, beautiful, like that. It has only to be painted like that and no other way. Everything else is disrespect. Unfortunately, however, they do not understand the transcendental affairs of Radha and Krishna even to the smallest degree. They are simply meddling in a matter in which they are not fit even to enter. इथे तर्क करी के हो ना करो संशय कृष्णेर अचिंत्य शक्ति एमत होय. One cannot understand the contradictions in Lord Chaitanya's character by putting forward mundane logic and arguments. Consequently, one should not maintain doubts in this connection. One should simply try to understand the inconceivable energy of Krishna, otherwise, one cannot understand how such contradictions are possible. The paradoxical nature of Krishna is not to be analyzed or trying to analyze with our tiny mundane brain. We just have to accept the achintya shakti of Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's it. That's the way to enter. Um, the logic in this, one may say that, oh, just acceptance without any logic? That's not logical. Well, the logic here is that achintya by definition means it cannot be comprehended by our chintana process. That is why it's called achintya. It cannot be under our chintya or our chintana shakti, our contemplative power. And therefore, he is also called adhokshaja. He is beyond our sense perception, beyond even our mind and intelligence. So, by definition, we are unable to understand him. And therefore, the intelligent thing to do is to accept. So, that is the logic in this. The logic is that I am not logically capable to understand him. That is the definition of achintya. So, if I have to accept the definition of achintya, then why I have to try to understand it within my purview of logic? Then what is the meaning of achintya? So that is the logic with which we have to accept Krishna's achintya nature, inconceivable nature. But such inconceivable Lord is conceived by Devaki in her womb. So this is the further inconceivable nature of Krishna, that the inconceivable can be conceived by the devotee only. So bhaktyamam abhijanati. So that is the only way the inconceivable becomes conceived, by bhakti, not with our analytical power, but with bhakti. Like Yashoda, Mother Yashoda tried to tie up Krishna with the rope. However long the rope was, could not tie him. But The 2 inches that were short are actually prema and bhakti. So love and devotion. So that is the missing gap. So if we have love and devotion, yes, we can bind him. He can be conceived. We can understand his inconceivable nature. He reveals to us how it is possible that he is like Arjuna, for example. He saw Krishna's universal form. In one place he was sitting and he was seeing the entire universe and how Krishna is directing the entire thing. And he also was seeing the death and the birth of everybody, even the persons on the battlefield. He was seeing everything from one place. He was able to conceive the inconceivable. Because why? Because divine eyes were given to him by Krishna. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Of course, here it was not exactly Premanjana. In fact, it stifled his prema, such vision. But Divya Chakshu. The point is, unless Krishna gives that power to see, 11.8, you see, Natumam shakyase drashtum anenaiva swachakshusha divyam dadami te chakshuh pashyame yogamaishwaram. This yogamaishwaram, the opulence of Krishna, this inconceivable nature, this paradoxical harmony that exists in Krishna, that there were opposites are in complete harmony in his character, is possible. That is an opulence to have. Even in, if you see Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 4 kinds of. Okay, let me actually first go through this verse and we will go there. Okay. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. So he has to give us the divine eyes to even perceive his opulence in its entirety. So this is one thing. And even in his character, I'll show you, there are 4 types of character of men. Dhirodhata, this is the Krishna's personality is analyzed as Dhirodatta, Dhiralalita, Dhira Prashanta, and Dhirodhata. If one asks, okay, what are these things? Okay, let's actually. If one asks how a personality can be held in 4 quite opposing ways, the answer is that the Lord is the reservoir of all transcendental qualities and activities. Therefore, his different aspects can be analyzed according to the exhibition of his limitless variety of pastimes, and as such, there is no contradiction. That is achintya. Now, let me just go into this, all these 4 things. What are they? Although it's not completely relevant to the verse, but I want to just show the contradiction, the paradox, the paradoxical nature of these characters, and how Krishna can be all of them. Okay, Dhirodatta. And Dhirodatta is a person who is naturally very grave, gentle, forgiving, merciful, determined, humble, highly qualified, chivalrous, and physically attractive. Lord Ramachandra's personality can be conceived with all these qualities. He's grave, he's gentle, forgiving, merciful, determined, humble, highly qualified, chivalrous, and physically very attractive. So that is Dhirodatta. Okay. Krishna also has this. Okay. Now, these are all examples. The above statement of the King of Heaven is an exact corroboration of Krishna's being Dhirodatta. So let's see. My dear Lord, I admit that I have committed great offenses unto you, but I cannot express my feelings of regret, being bewildered at seeing your extraordinary chivalrous spirit, your endeavor to protect your devotees, your determination, your steadiness in lifting the great hill of Govardhan, your beautiful bodily features, and your astonishing characteristic of being pleased simply by accepting the prayers of your devotees and offenders. So this is Dhirodatta personality of Krishna. So here, many learned scholars have agreed to also accept Lord Ramachandra as Dhirodatta. But all of Lord Ramachandra's qualities are also included in the character of Lord Krishna. Now, Dhira Lalita. Now, a person who has Dhirodatta qualities has only those qualities. He will never be like Dhira Lalita. Let's see what Dhira Lalita is. A person is called Dhira Lalita if he is naturally very funny, that means he's not grave, always in full youthfulness, expert in joking, and free from all anxieties. Such a Dhira Lalita personality is generally found to be domesticated and very submissive to his lover. That means he's usually a very handpicked person. One who's very grave, one who's very, he will not be like that. Um, he may be, of course, Lord Ramachandra also showed that part of it, where he was very handpicked, but he was also, I mean, he could easily banish her to the forest again. A Dhira Lalita person would never be able to do that, and he's always joking, funny, youthful, and he has all women around him. He's very charming to women. You know. I mean, all these personalities are charming to women, but he is especially very easily. He can easily seduce a woman. Um, so, such a Dhira Lalita personality is generally found to be domesticated and very submissive to his lover. This Dhira Lalita trait in the personality of Krishna is described by Yagnapatni, the wife of one of the Brahmanas. Okay, I'm not going to go into all these details, but this is the other Dhira Lalita. And then Dhira Prashanta. A person who is very peaceful, forbearing, considerate, and obliging is called Dhira Prashanta. This Dhira Prashanta trait of Krishna was exhibited in his dealing with the Pandavas. So this is Dhira Prashanta. And then Dhirodhata, a person who is very envious, proud, easily angered, restless, and complacent, is called Dhirodhata by learned scholars. Such qualities were visible in the character of Lord Krishna because when he was writing a letter to Kalayavana, Krishna addressed him as a sinful frog. This is kind of like rude and, you know, it's Bhima had this character, Dhirodhata. He was easily angered. He was, strong like anything, and he was aggressive. That kind of character is Dhirodhata. So in his letter, Krishna advised Kalayavana that he should immediately go and find some dark well for his residence because there was a black snake named Krishna who was very eager to devour all such sinful frogs. So there is no humility in this statement. There is arrogance, there is pride, there is rudeness, insulting. So this is not a very like a grave person, gentle, and no. And so similarly, so all these personalities are quite contradictory. A person of one character will not usually behave in another way. But Krishna has all these contradictory traits in complete harmony in his character. So one should simply try to understand the inconceivable energy of Krishna, otherwise one cannot understand how such contradictions are possible. Achintya Adbhuta Krishna Chaitanya Vihar Chitra Bhava Chitra Guna Chitra Vyavahar. The pastimes of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are inconceivable and wonderful. His ecstasy is wonderful, his qualities are wonderful, and his behavior is wonderful. तर्के इह नाहि माने जय दुराचार कुंभी पाके पचे तार नाहि कनिस्तार. If one simply adheres to mundane arguments and therefore does not accept this, he will boil in the hell of Kumbhipaka. For him there is no deliverance. Purport. Kumbhipaka, a type of hellish condition, is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.26.13, where it is said that a person who cooks living birds and beasts to satisfy his tongue is brought before Yamaraj after death and punished in the Kumbhipaka hell. There he is put into boiling oil called Kumbhipaka, from which there is no deliverance. Kumbhipaka is meant for persons who are unnecessarily envious. By killing the animals, it is showing envy towards them. It is like your life doesn't matter, my life matters. My tongue matters more than your life. That is the envy one has towards animals if he does that. So, similarly, those who are envious of the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are punished in that hellish condition. Now, you see, the statement of being punished in the hellish condition of Kumbhipaka has logical reason. And Prabhupada explained in the purport the logical reason of why only Kumbhipaka, not other hells. Because Kumbhipaka is for envious people who kill animals. And envy towards animals actually has its origin in one's envy towards Krishna. because that's why we came into this material world, and that envy, you know, it gets exhibited itself into towards other living entities as well. If we can be envious towards Krishna, why we won't be envious towards others? So that's how envy comes into being, and such people are in Kumbhipaka hell. So it is not just oh, you'll go to hell, but why you will go to hell also is mentioned. Why the exact reason why you're going to hell? Why on that particular hell? So there's so much philosophy to, there's so much reasoning behind every single statement. अचिन्त्याः खलु ये भावा नतांस्तर्केण योजयेत् प्रकृतिभ्यः परं यच्च तदचिन्त्यस्य लक्षणम्. Anything transcendental to material nature is called inconceivable, whereas arguments are all mundane. Since mundane arguments cannot touch transcendental subject matters, one should not try to understand transcendental subjects through mundane arguments. Purport. This verse from the Mahabharata, Bhishma Parva, is also quoted in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Bhishma Parva 5.22 is also quoted in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.593 by Sri Rupa Goswami. अद्भुत चैतन्य लीलाय जहार विश्वास से जन जाय चैतन्य पदपाश. Only a person who has firm faith in the wonderful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can approach his lotus feet. प्रसंगे कहिलो ए सिद्धांतेर सार इहा जय सुने शुद्ध भक्ति होय तार. In this discourse, I have explained the essence of the devotional conclusion. Anyone who hears this develops unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. So this is the way how to get unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. We have to accept the essence of the devotional conclusion. How we have to become a devotee, how we have to accept this disciplic conclusion. All this we have to assimilate. लिखित ग्रंथेर यदि करे अनुवाद तबे से ग्रंथेर अर्थ पाइये आस्वाद. If I repeat what is already written, I may thus relish the purport of the scripture. देखी ग्रंथे भागवते व्यासेर आचार कथा को ही अनुवाद करे वार वार. We can see in the scripture Srimad Bhagavatam the conduct of its author, Sri Vyasadeva. After speaking the narration, he repeats it again and again. Purport. At the end of Srimad Bhagavatam in the 12th canto, the 12th chapter, contains 43 verses in which Sri Krishna Dvaipana Vyasadeva recapitulates Srimad Bhagavatam's entire subject matter. Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wants to follow in the footsteps of Sri Vyasadeva by recapitulating the 17 chapters of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita's Ādi-līlā. I will give you one example. Okay. 1.5.11. Okay. तद्वाग्विसर्गो जनताघ विप्लवो यस्मिन् प्रतिश्लोकमबद्धवत्यपि नामान्यनन्तस्य यशोङ्गितानि यत् शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति साधवः. Okay. On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc. of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Okay? This exact same verse is explained, I think, yeah, 12.12.52. Same exact verse. Tadvagvisargo janatagha samplavo. There it is said viplavo, here samplavo. Yasmin pratishlokam abadhavatyapi namanyanantasya yashonkitani yad shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhavaha. Even the verse before that, 1.5.10, which is This is one. Same exact verse is 12:51 as well. न यद्वचश्चित्रपदं हरेर्यशो जगत्पवित्रं प्रगृणीत कर्हिचित् तद्ध्वाङ्क्षतीर्थं न तु हंससेवितं यत्राच्युतस्तत्र हि साधवो malaha. The last two lines are slightly different, but exactly the same meaning. Dhvangsha is crow. There it is. Vayasam tirtham. Here, Dhvangsha of the crows. So it is repeated again, recapitulating. So this is called recap. When we say recap, actually it is the short form of recapitulate. So it's recapping the whole thing or recapitulating the whole thing. At the end of Srimad Bhagavatam in the 12th canto, 12th chapter contains 43 verses in which Sri Krishna Dvaipayan Vyasadeva recapitulates Srimad Bhagavatam's entire subject matter. Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wants to follow in the footsteps of Sri Vyasadeva by recapitulating the 17 chapters of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita's Ādi-līlā. ताते आदि-लीलार कोरे परिच्छेद गणन प्रथम परिच्छेदे कोइलो मंगलाचरण. Therefore, I shall enumerate the chapters of the Ādi-līlā. In the first chapter, I offer obeisances to the spiritual master, for this is the beginning of auspicious writing. द्वितीय परिच्छेदे चैतन्य तत्व निरूपण स्वयं भगवान जय व्रजेंद्र नंदन. The second chapter explains the truth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda. तेहोट चैतन्य कृष्ण सच्चिदानंदन तृतीय परिच्छेदे जन्मेर सामान्य कारण. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, has now appeared as the son of Mother Sachi. The third chapter describes the general cause of his appearance, or the external reason. तहि मध्ये प्रेम दान विशेष कारण युग धर्म कृष्ण नाम प्रेम प्रचारण. The third chapter specifically describes the distribution of love of Godhead. It also describes the religion of the age, which is simply to distribute the holy name of Lord Krishna and propagate the process of loving him. चतुर्थे कोहिलु जन्मेर मूल प्रयोजन स्वमाधुर्य प्रेमानंद रस आस्वादन. The fourth chapter describes the main reason for his appearance, which is to taste the mellows of his own transcendental loving service and his own sweetness. पंचमे श्री नित्यानंद तत्व निरूपण नित्यानंद होइला राम रोहिणी नंदन. The fifth chapter describes the truth of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who is none other than Balaram, the son of Rohini. षष्ठ परिच्छेदे अद्वैत तत्वेर विचार Advaita Acharya Mahavishnu Avatar. The sixth chapter considers the truth of Advaita Acharya. He is an incarnation of Mahavishnu. Saptama Parichhede Pancha-tattva Akhyan Pancha-tattva Mili Joyche Koila Premadan. The seventh chapter describes the Pancha-tattva, Sri Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar and Srivas. They all combine together to distribute love of Godhead everywhere. अष्टमे चैतन्य लीला वर्णन कारण एक कृष्ण नामेर महामहिमा कथन. एक कृष्ण नामेर महामहिमा कथन. The eighth chapter gives the reason for describing Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. It also describes the greatness of Lord Krishna's holy name. नवमेते भक्ति कल्प वृक्षेर वर्णन श्री चैतन्य माली कैला वृक्ष आरोपण. The ninth chapter describes the desire tree of devotional service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is the gardener who planted it. Dashamete moola skandher shakhadi ganan sarva shakha ganer jaiche phalavitaran. The 10th chapter describes the branches and sub-branches of the main trunk and the distribution of their fruits. Ekadashe Nityananda Shakha Vivaran Dvadashe Advaita Skandha Shakhara Varnan. The 11th chapter describes the branch called Sri Nityananda Prabhu. The 12th chapter describes the branch called Sri Advaita Prabhu. त्रयोदशे महाप्रभुर्जन्म विवरण कृष्ण नाम सहजय छे प्रभुर जन्म janam. The 13th chapter describes the birth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which took place with the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Chaturdashe Ādi-līlār kichu vivaran Pancha-tashe Paugandalīlār sankshepe kathan. The 14th chapter gives some description of the Lord's childhood pastimes. The 15th briefly describes the Lord's boyhood pastimes. The reason why they were brief is because Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das Thakur already explained in Chaitanya Bhagavat these pastimes at great length. And that's why. षोडश परिच्छेदे कैशोर लीलार उद्देश सप्तदशे यौवन लीला कोहिलूं विशेष. In the 16th chapter, I have indicated the pastimes of the Kaishora age, the age prior to youth. In the 17th chapter, I have specifically described his youthful pastimes. एष सप्तदश प्रकार आदिलीलार प्रबंध द्वादश प्रबंध ताते ग्रंथ मुख बंध. Thus, there are 17 varieties of subjects in the first canto, which is known as the Ādi-līlā. 12 of these constitute the preface of the scripture. So, from the 13th onwards is these pastimes. But the first 12 constitute the preface of this scripture of Chaitanya Charitamrita, because it is establishing the position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, all the Pancha-tattva, which are very, very condensed in the first 14 verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ādi-līlā, first chapter, first 14 verses. And the first 12 chapters are the expansion of the first 14 verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he wrote this in a very deliberate manner, in a very deliberate order. He planted the seeds for the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita in the first 14 verses, and he expanded and made it into huge trees, these branches of explanation of every, aspect of the Pancha-tattva. And then only, after thoroughly establishing the position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates and the Pancha-tattva, then only did he start with the birth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all his pastimes. Because many people will jump into, the reason why this was done was because to establish Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as God first. Many people, there is Sai Satcharita. Ours is Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's Sai Satcharita of Sai Baba, which is complete nonsense. He is being worshipped as God, whereas he's just an ordinary living being. But this mistake happened because, first of all, they never established him philosophically as God first. Just went on telling some wild stories, and people just believe he's God. So Chaitanya, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was very well aware the problems with this current Kali Yuga, where so many imposter incarnations will come and claim that they are God. So he set a precedence on how to establish one as God first, so that no one can actually establish any other person as God. And he showed us the method, not just believe anything, first establish as God and then go into the pastimes. That's why if you see in the Bhagavad Gita, there is no pastimes described of the Lord, just very, very brief mentions here and there. He said, I spoke this to the sun god, or, he showed of course, the Virat Rupa. And here and there, he mentions very slightly about Prahlad, about Janaka Maharaj, about Hiran. There is not much. It is more about the philosophy of him being the supreme and we being his servants and surrender to him being the topmost religious system. His pastimes are mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. So first the philosophy has to be established, and only then we can go into the pastimes and everything. So That's what is done here by Chaitanya, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And we also should note the point that he followed the footsteps of Vyasadeva. This is how to write, by how previous acharyas wrote, and why did they adopt such methods. And using the same methods, we have to approach our description of Krishna. So he's showing how to follow the parampara or sampradaya by following the not only the conclusion but also the ways of the acharyas. That's the proper way to do things. That is humility. That is the definition of humility. If I think I have a better way to do things and I am better than the previous acharyas, that is stupidity. Yeah. So humility it comes at every level of at every in every aspect of Krishna consciousness. Even how we do our things, how we go about our service, there has to be humility. पंच प्रबंधे पंच रसे रचरित संक्षेपे कहिलूं अति ना कोइलूं विस्तृत. After the chapters of the preface, I have described 5 transcendental mellows in 5 chapters. I have described them very briefly rather than expansively. वृंदावन दास इहा चैतन्य मंगले विस्तारी वर्णिला नित्यानंद आज्ञा बोले. You see, this is also there is another humility here. Why he only condensed the pastimes and not in great detail? Again, there is humility there. Humility at different levels is being demonstrated by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. We should take note of these things. How he's exhibiting. We say we have Trinada Pisunichana. What does that Trinada Pisunichana actually means? These behavior of the Vaishnavas. If we closely observe, we will find the humility in every aspect of their lives, every aspect of their actions. Even in his writing, firstly, he said, he followed the way of of Vyasadeva. He's summarizing the whole thing, and also his preface of the 12 chapters, establishing the position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Pancha-tattva, is also humility for the Lord, because he wants to establish that only the Lord's activities are to be described and nobody else should compete with the Lord. Now, even if somebody writes a biography of some, deify somebody, deify means make him a deity. So the deification of ordinary personalities as if they are as good as God, and people following such personalities and thinking they are God, he's countering that, and that is humility. Because if he allows other people to be worshipped as good as God, not adequately establishing the position of Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then he has done a disservice. Hmm. So he is not establishing the supremacy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So by doing that, that itself is a humility. And always praying to Rupa and Raghunath for mercy so that he can enter into the understanding of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is humility. And even the way he concludes the Ādi-līlā here, he is following in the footsteps of Vyasadeva. There is humility, the manner in which he does these things. And now, the reason why he only, described these pastimes in brief is also his humility, because he is saying here, now let's read this translation here. By the order of and strength of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur has elaborately described in his Chaitanya Mangal all that I have not. And for that reason, I do not want to transgress Vrindavan Das Thakur's writings or the order of even Nityananda Prabhu by overriding his authority, by doing, by talking too much here or writing too much here. So that is Maryada Vyatikrama if I do that. And therefore, I want to keep the Maryada. Maryada Rakshan hoy sadhur bhushan. भक्त स्वभाव मर्यादा रक्षण, मर्यादा पालन होय साधुर भूषण. It is the characteristic. It is the characteristic of a devotee to observe and protect the Vaishnava etiquette. Maintenance of the Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament of a devotee. And in fact, not just the ornament of a devotee, it is the quintessence of religious principles. Whatever philosophy is explained in the scriptures is embodied by the devotee. All what is said about Bhagavan, all what is said about bhakti, all what is said about bhakta, all what is said about the material nature, the senses, the control of the senses, everything you will find it demonstrated in the life and activities of a devotee. Vaishnava, this is called Maryada Rakshan hoy, Maryada Palan hoy Sadhur Bhushan. Because the philosophy is Trinada Pisunichana, for example. And here is the demonstration of such philosophy. Then we will know how to implement that philosophical point in our lives practically, because it has to translate into practical action, right? Then we will have a realization. So when we observe the activities of the devotees, then we will have, we will be able to see, oh, this is how that principle is to be followed. So going back, text 331. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Lila Adbhuta Ananta Brahma Shiva Shesha Jara Nahi Paya Anta. The pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are wonderful and unlimited. Even personalities like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Sheshanag cannot find their end. This is not at all an exaggeration. Jai Jai Amsha Kohe Shune Shai Dhanya Achire Mili Betare Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Anyone who describes or hears any part of this elaborate subject will very soon receive the causeless mercy of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Advaita, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Advaita Nityananda, Sri Vasa Gadadharadi Jata Bhakta Vrinda. Herein the author again describes the Pancha-tattva, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri Vasa, and all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Jata Jata Bhakta Gana Vaishe Vrindavana Namra Haya Shire Dharo Shabara Charane. Jata Jata Bhakta Gana Vaishe Vrindavane Namra Haya Shire Dharo Shabara Charane. I offer my respectful obeisances to all the residents of Vrindavan. I wish to place their lotus feet on my head in great humbleness. Shri Swarupa Shri Rupa Shri Sanatan Shri Raghunath Dasa Ar Shri Jiva Charan Shire Dhari Vandan Nitya Karo Tar Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Das. I wish to place the lotus feet of the Goswamis on my head. Their names are Sri Sarup Damodar, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, and Sri Jiva Goswami. Placing their lotus feet on my head, always hoping to serve them, I, Krishnadas, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ādi-līlā, 17th chapter, describing the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his youth. End of the Ādi-līlā. Then next is Madhya-līlā. So, we have come this far. We have finished the Ādi-līlā of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reading. I think it was how many years? I think 3-4 years. That means, and Ādi-līlā only has 17 chapters. Madhya-līlā has way more chapters than this. I think 20 something chapters. And Antya-līlā again Let me see how many chapters Madhya-lila has. 25 chapters in Madhya-lila. Antya-lila, 20 chapters. So the Ādi-lila has the least number of chapters. It took us about 3 years, maybe 3 or 4 years. 2020 is when we started, is it? Maybe 2021, something like around there. So at least another 7 to 8 years, if not more, maybe almost 10 years more of subject matter just from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Of course, we're doing it only once a week, and some weeks we are missing it out. So that's that. So, any questions or comments on this topic? Let me go through the comment section. Shivranj Rashil is asking, Prabhu, I read a poem by Namalvar, Ramanuja Sampradaya, where he speaks of the Lord as his lover, but he refers to the four-handed Narayan. Well, okay, first of all, I have not read it, but I cannot comment too much because first of all, I do not even know it. But if you see, um, even in the songs of our acharyas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, what is that song? Morning Mangalarti song in Vrindavan, what is it? Vibhavari Shesha Aloka Pravesha. So in that, Narsimha Vamana Shri Madhusudana Brajendra Nandana Kana Putana Ghatana Kaita Bhashatana Jaya Dasharathe Rama. So many incarnations are there in one song. So what kind of rasas are there are being, portrayed. I do not want to go too deep into that because I'm not capable of doing that. So I will not comment too much on that because I do not know. Okay? But Lakshmi ji has, conjugal love for Narayan. So there is that. And even Lakshmi with Narsimha, or of course, it is also said that Lakshmi also has dasyam because she always massages the feet of Lord Vishnu. But also there is Madhurya Ras, and that's why she wanted to enter the Ras-līlā, but she could not because hers was Swakiya, whereas Radharani's was Parakiya. So there is Swakiya Madhurya Ras there. And Prabhupada says in the Vaikuntha, there are unlimited Lakshmis, but not all Lakshmis are the wives of Narayan. They are the wives of devotees in Vaikuntha Loka. So there are couples in Vaikunthas, unlimited number of couples, but such couples don't have sexual activities between themselves. They're all immersed in the love for Narayan. So they are also called Lakshmis. Prabhupada writes it in a letter. I think few times he mentioned this. I cannot take out the exact quote because I don't know where exactly they are, how to pinpoint them. But many times Prabhupada explained this. So it could be one of them that Namalwar is alluding to or referring to. So anyway, I don't want to go too much into that. But we have, it's not completely out of league. There is precedence to such idea. So can we say Madhurya is there even in Narayan but not as much as in Krishna? Yes, but only very selective for this thing. So, for example, Lakshmi Narayan. In fact, that was the essence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's conversation with Venkata Bhatta of Sri Sampradaya. That, oh, you are worshipping Lakshmi Narayan, but Radharani is superior to Lakshmi. So Radha Krishna worship is higher. So that was his subject matter of discussion to with Venkata Bhatta in Srirangam. So this Pranav is saying that apologies to Sadguru. No way, boy. No way. He has to apologize to Krishna. He has to apologize to all the bona fide acharyas. He has to apologize because he is, you know, he has to change. He has to become humble and become a proper devotee of Krishna. He cannot masquerade around as a big guru when he's atheist in the first place. He doesn't believe in God. He doesn't believe in a person called God. Does not. He's always very vague about it, very this thing, and he always thinks he's like Shiva. Crap. Not even close. Shiva is the greatest devotee of Vishnu. The greatest Vaishnava in the universe is Lord Shiva. This Sadguru is nowhere even close. Okay? Don't get fooled by all these masquerading gurus who are just cheaters in the garb of gurus. We will never apologize to that. In fact, that is a lack of humility. To apologize to them is a lack of humility because then you are going directly against what Krishna is saying about the qualities of a guru. You should understand what a true guru is, what a true Sadguru is, from the statements of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And you test whether Sadguru actually matches those or not before accepting the title. We have today a lot of people who just accept titles without any damn qualification because they say, oh, there is a so called Mahatma Gandhi. Where is the Mahatma? Why is he Mahatma? Krishna defines who is Mahatma, not some idiots. Just because some idiots gave him the title of Mahatma, he just now becomes a Mahatma. No. Krishna has to certify. The certificate has to come from, just like if I am a professor, I cannot say I am Dr. So and so unless I have a PhD degree from an authorized university. I cannot just myself say I'm a doctor so and so. Right? It has to be authorized not by the common man on the street, but by the university dean. So similarly, I have to be authorized by the highest authority of certification, not by stupid idiots who do not know what is the meaning of Mahatma. Similarly, I cannot call myself Sadguru when some stupid idiot is calling me Sadguru. No. Guru means, what is the definition of Guru? You go and read Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 34th verse, and first verse, second verse, third verse, and many other places, even in Bhagavad Gita itself. And in 10th chapter, it is there, Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasa, and you observe their lives. What are they? Why they became Guru? Bhishma Dev, all the Mahajans. What is their character? What made them gurus? Because they are devotees of Krishna. That's what made them gurus. If you're not a devotee of Krishna, you cannot be a guru. Period. There are many gurus for many different things. But if you want the highest pinnacle of perfection of human life, you have to accept the guru. Sat means who teaches you about Sat, or the eternal, the truth, the supreme truth. And who is the supreme truth? Satyam Param Dhimahi. Who is that? Janmadhyasya yatonvayad itaratas charteshu abhigna swarat. Tene brahma hridaya adi kavaye muhyanti yat suryah. Tejo vari mridam yatra vinimayo yatra trisargom risha. Yatha vinimayo yatra trisargom risha. Dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam param dhimai. Who is that? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He is the Param Satyam. Okay? Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. And he is Satyam Param Dhimahi. Satyam Param. So, who teaches about that Satyam? He is called Satguru. Okay? That's the definition of Sadguru. Not simply I accept the title and we have another Pandit, Nehru, who is not even a Pandit. He's a fool number one. And here we have Sadguru who is not a Sadguru. We have a Bhagavan, Sai Baba, who is not a Bhagavan. That is Kali Yuga. People take things for what they are not, and whatever is not, they accept as the truth. And this is the classic quality of the mode of ignorance. Understand? Adharmam dharmamitiya manyate tamasavrita sarvarthan viparitamscha buddhi sapartha tamasi. That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness and strives always in the wrong direction of Partha is in the mode of ignorance. And look at Prabhupada's commentary on this. Intelligence in the mode of ignorance is always working the opposite of the way it should. It accepts religions which are not actually religions and rejects actual religion. And today, so many so-called followers of Sadguru, what religion are they following? Some hear you, some he will use words, Sanskrit words. He himself admitted many times that I have never read the Vedas. I don't want to read them. I don't want to be influenced by a book. I want to be, experience everything, and I will just learn everything from my own experience. This is nonsense. Whereas here we have to, Krishna is saying in the 17th chapter, 15th verse, that we have to always, and in the 16th chapter, 24th verse, that karya karya vyavasthito. Yatra, what is that? Yatha shastra vidhanoktam karma kartum iharhasi. Shastra vidhanoktam karma kartum iharhasi. That means we have to follow the Shastra. All our actions should be based on the scriptures. And here he's saying, you just follow, but don't follow the scriptures. And why should I follow you, first of all? That is my question. If I do not follow anyone, I do not follow anything, any scripture, why should I follow you then? I should also not follow you. This is rubbish nonsense. Okay, we will never apologize to such rascals. You see, intelligence in the mode of ignorance is always working the opposite of the way it should. It accepts religions which are not actually religions and rejects actual religion. Men in ignorance understand a great soul to be a common man and accept a common man as a great soul, which is what you're doing by accepting Sadguru as some great soul. He's a common man. He's not just a common man. Common man is better than him. He's a cheater. He's cheating you in the matter of spiritual. Oh, it's saying something spiritual. No, you will get this and that. But he's a cheater because he's not teaching what Krishna is teaching in the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and in the whole Vedas and Puranas. Complete opposite conclusion he's coming to. So he's a cheater, and you're accepting him as a great soul. You have to apologize to Krishna. You have to apologize to the acharyas. You have to apologize to the devotees. Understand or not? And he has to also to apologize and come to the right path first. They think truth to be untruth and accept untruth as truth. You see? This is what you're doing. And you're asking me to apologize to the untruth. I will never do it. I may even die, but I will never do it. Understand? Don't talk nonsense. Come here and talk nonsense to me. Try to understand first what is the truth and what is not truth. And then decide on what to be done and what not to be done. You don't even know the truth first. And you have already decided what to do and what not to do. And you're imposing your ideas on others, what they should do and what they should not do. And I should apologize. Why I should do that? First of all, you do not know anything. So first try to understand what is the truth. And then talk. In all activities, they simply take the wrong path. Therefore, their intelligence is in the mode of ignorance. So this is our challenge to anybody who comes to us saying that, oh, the Sadguru was right, this Guru was right. Not only Sadguru, there will be another millions of so-called gurus in the future. Because Kali Yuga is full of people who want to get cheated. And these cheaters will have good business. If you today know what is right and what is wrong, people like Sadguru will not be in business. People will surrender to the real Sadguru, who is Prabhupada. Prabhupada is a real bona fide Sadguru. Okay? This guy is Asad Guru. He's not even Guru, he's a Laghu. Guru means heavy, Laghu means light. Guru means heavy with knowledge. And heavy with knowledge becomes humble. When the tree has heavy fruits, it will bend down. Heavy with knowledge, that is Guru. Here he is Laghu, he is flimsy. That's why he's so proud. He thinks he's a big time Guru, this and that. Who is he? Simply cheating, nonsense. And all his league, not only him, anybody like him who profess to be a Guru or a God, we will challenge them and kick them on their face and show them their true colors, show the world their true colors. People may or may not understand. People will not like me for what I'm saying, but you cannot disprove my statements because the Shastras say this. And Shastras are Krishna's own words. I would rather listen to Krishna's version than some stupid idiot's version of things. Okay? I would place my faith in Krishna, not anybody else. I want to hear Bhagavad Gita, not some Sadguru Gita, some idiot Gita. I don't want that. Anybody who repeats the word of Krishna, he is to be heard. He is to be listened to. We should lend an ear to him, not anybody else. You better learn how to first read Prabhupada's books, then you will understand all these things properly. You guys are the reason Sanatanis can't come together. This is another. First of all, you are adding people who are not part of Sanatan Dharma at all and amalgamating them with Sanatan Dharma followers. No, this is cheaters. You should know what is adharma. You cannot lump in dharma and adharma together. We will never do that. Okay, for example, let me see. Let us analyze this. You say that you are only Krishna followers, you don't worship Shiva or you don't worship Durga and all these things. Okay, let's take Ramayana. Okay, Ramayana. There was a follower of Lord Shiva and there were followers of Ram, and there was a big battle between them. So both are Sanatan Dharma. There was no Christianity, there was no Muslim, there is no Buddhism, there is no Jainism, there is no nothing at that time. So-called Sanatan Dharma also, right? So Shiva is also part of our Dharma. Ravana worshipped him. Why there was war between Ram and Ravan? Why? Why Hanuman and Ravan there was fighting? Who is supreme? Huh? One is considered Asura even if he is a worshipper of demigod, but who is not a devotee of Vishnu, he is Asura. So we are concerning ourselves with Daiva, Asura, Evacha. Two kinds of people, Daiva and Asura. Godly and demoniac. One may be even in the realm of Sanatan Dharma, he may even worship some demigod, Devata. But if he is against Vishnu or Krishna, he is an Asura. So why Ram could have said, oh, you're also worshipping Shiva. Okay, you know what? Some people say Ram also worships Shiva, right? Rameshwaram, they say. Even if Ram worshipped Shiva, Ram also worshipped Arjun. Krishna worshipped Arjun. Krishna became a driver for Arjun. Okay, he worshipped his father Nanda Maharaj also. That does not mean Shiva is supreme. Okay, even if he did that. Now, oh, I also worship Shiva. You also worship Shiva. Okay, all of us together now, all one. Why do not? Let's not fight. No. So it is not about coming together. The thing is, we have to concern ourselves with truth. We cannot have a coalition of all kinds of ideologies. We cannot have that. We have to concern ourselves with the truth and come to the truth. Satyam param dhimahi. And what is the truth? Krishna says, Mattaha parataram nanyat. There is no one equal to or superior to me, and that is the truth. And you have to understand that. You cannot have this hodgepodge understanding that everyone is okay, this is also okay, that is also... No, you cannot. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Ekam means one, alone. Surrender to me alone, Krishna says. Not to any other devatas. And he condemns devata worship. Kama says there, hritagnyana. Those whose intelligence is gone, they will worship the devatas for material benefits. This is what Krishna is saying. Avidhi purvakam. This is worship in the wrong way. Because whatever the devatas can give, they cannot give one single thing without my approval. Krishna is saying this. Mayaiva vihitan hitan. I give everything through the agency of the devatas. Because you are completely averse to me, you don't want to worship me, I give the chance to worship me indirectly so that you will benefit. So you will worship these proxies who are actually my agents, these devatas, and you worship them for some material benefits and they will give you that. They cannot give you even one single thing without my sanction. But because you don't come to me directly, I allow you to go to them to get your things. Otherwise, you cannot get what you want because how sinful you are. I want to make you a little bit pious. I want you to come back to me to enjoy life with me. But you don't want to enjoy. You want to suffer. You're obstinate like a dog. Obstinacy, dog's tail. So, This dog obstinacy, because you're like a dog, okay, fine, then you at least become happy by serving the devatas, by worshipping them. And through them, I will give you. Because otherwise, you will just commit sinful activities and suffer. I don't want you to suffer. Even though you're against me, I want you to stay comfortable in this material world, at least. That is Krishna's mercy that he is putting the devatas as proxies and allowing you to worship him or worship them. But ultimately, you have to understand that Krishna is the original giver of everything and sanctioner. And you have to come to Krishna. Because if Krishna is giving you, you say thank you to someone else, some other devata. Is that not lack of etiquette? Suppose I give you something, or you give me, say, $100, and I say thank you to somebody else. You will think, what is he doing? You have to say, I have to say thank you to you. So that's proper etiquette, right? I don't even say that. I reject Krishna and I go to devatas. What is that? So all these things are mentioned. We have to understand the truth first. And whoever is repeating this truth without compromise is a Sadguru. He alone has the right to hold the title Sadguru. Nobody else should have the audacity to have that title. Okay? He has to apologize and remove the title and call himself what he is, Jaggi Vasudev. Okay? That is his name. Jagadish, whatever it is. That is his name. Just have that name. Don't accept these titles which do not belong to you. Or, and first of all, become a proper disciple of Prabhupada. This Jaggi Vasudev should become a disciple of Prabhupada first. Read his books. That's what he should be doing. Okay. What is this? 42444 and what? What is this? 42444. This is from the Rudra Gita, if I'm not wrong. My dear Lord, I wish to see you exactly in the form that your very dear devotees worship. You have many other forms, but I wish to see you your form that is especially liked by the devotees. Please be merciful upon me and show me that form, for only that form worshipped by the devotees can perfectly satisfy all the demands of the senses. Well, to the fullest degree, that is Krishna. Sarvakamaha, Sarvagandha, Sarvarasaha, Raso Vaisaha. So anyway, you can read this. So for all desires can be fulfilled even to the complete limit of all rasas by Krishna. Okay, so Pranav is asking what is Ādi-līlā. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is divided into three cantos: Ādi-līlā, Madhya-līlā, Anta-līlā. Just like many scriptures are divided into many cantos, and each has sub chapters, and each chapter has verses. So that's so Ādi-līlā is the first of the three Lila. Ādi-līlā, Madhya-līlā, Anta-līlā. So this is the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah, Ādi-līlā is the first part of Chaitanya Charitamrita. There are three parts. What is the end result of Bhakti Yoga? Where is it supposed to take us? Good question. So end result of Bhakti Yoga is to be a Bhakta, proper Bhakta. The means is the end, the perfection. So of course one will think that okay, going back to Godhead, to Vaikuntha Loka is the end. But there it is not, it's not an end. Because after that, what are you going to do? So that is complete engagement in bhakti, devotional service to Krishna, there in the Vaikuntha Loka. So the end result is to be constantly engaged in Krishna's service. So the bhakti is the means and bhakti is the end as well. But that end bhakti will be the perfect bhakti. Now it is imperfect. Now, like as a baby, now we have Usain Bolt, who is the fastest runner, sprinter. or we have long distance runners. But when they were babies, they tried to stand up, they fell down many times. But then eventually they walked and then they ran and then became the fastest runner eventually. So now our bhakti is like the falling down of the baby. We are in the beginning stages of our bhakti, and so we may fall back many times and we, may not be completely steady, but we have to persevere and then we become um, accomplished in this, and we have to be able to healthily move around. And when in the old age, when one, for whatever impairment, if one cannot walk, one again comes back to the stage when he was as a child, when he could not walk. You see, so that should not happen. Hmm. We have to be always healthy and we have to walk. So, as a devotee, as a bhakti yogi, our state is to be always, our destination is to be constantly in the state of bhakti yoga and not fall from that. And it is not by force. One becomes has a higher taste of Krishna consciousness, then one will be automatically established there and will never fall down. Okay, Shivranj has said to Goloka back to home, back to Godhead, but a highest devotee he won't even ask that. Whether you keep me in the Goloka or Vaikuntha or in the material world, whatever it is, keep me in your service. Because our original nature is to serve. We cannot stop serving anyone. So we have to serve Krishna all the time because our original position is to serve Krishna. We have forgotten his service and now we are forced to serve so many other masters. Why should they be submissive though? Okay, so you should always submit to someone who is superior. If you're inferior, you have to submit to the superior. So we are infinitesimal, we are minute. The Lord is infinite. So we are, of course, inferior to the Lord. And therefore, once we acknowledge His greatness, we have to submit to Him. We have to be submissive. How can you be all nose high in front of the Lord? You cannot be like that. You have to submit to His authority because your entire existence depends on Him. Your entire existence depends on Him. Oh, you're asking about women. Why should women be submissive to the man? Okay. If the woman is submissive, the man is very much ready to take charge of things. So, yeah, that is the position of woman. And men must be qualified spiritually, and the character should be first class. And then women should submit to such a man. That's the nature of women. Because they need to be dependent on men. They cannot be independent. They cannot do it independently. They will fail. Hmm. Their happiest position is when they are completely dependent on the man. And it's not just being happy, but that's their dharma to serve the husband. Well, now I have answered your questions. Um, Usually, questions are answered at the end of the session, but sometimes I took some of those questions because they were relevant to that particular topic at that time. You know, so usually questions are answered at the end. Yes, Dimitri is saying Ādi-līlā 8.72 purport. Unless one is empowered by the higher authorities or advanced devotees, one cannot write transcendental literature. How long is the lecture? However long it will take. I don't know if he was patient enough to be at the end of the class. Can Manu is saying, how sincere are you to wait to hear the answer? This isn't a Sastric fast food line. That's true. Can Krishna be Bhakti be achieved while living in material life? Absolutely. And that's what we're trying to do here. Um, I'm just trying to read the comment section here. Please bear with me. How can a person go from tamasic qualities to sattvic qualities? Well, it's not completely related to the class subject. We should also ask questions related to the class subject. Unless it is an ask me anything session, you have to ask questions related to the class. But anyway, how to go from tamasic to sattvic? And even sattvic is not enough. You have to rise above sattvic also. The best way is to serve the spiritual master, the guru, the actual Sadguru, who is the bona fide spiritual master, Prabhupada in our case. So that's the short answer. But why is it so? Then you have to read the whole philosophy. So you first start reading our books first, Prabhupada's books. The Science of Self-Realization is a good start, and then you go to Bhagavad Gita. So you get a book first and start reading. Yeah. Discussed outside of the class. Please join the Telegram group. Yeah. Um. Okay. This is a good verse from Haribhakti Vilas. Sadhava kshina doshastu satchabdha sadhuvachakah tesham acharanam yattu sadacharah sa uchyate. Sadhus are those who are free from faults, and the word sat is a signifier of a sadhu. Their conduct is called sadachar, proper conduct. Very good. Good verse. So, yeah, I can't believe we finished the whole Ādi-līlā. Just wow. I don't think ISKCON did that well, but first I'm sure. Thank you very much. This place is a treasure for devotees. I don't know, maybe they did it already, I don't know. But yeah, it's always nice to do this. Started during 2021. Oh, started during 2021. So that's about 3 years. Mm. First CC lecture was 8th July 2020. Wow. So it was 2020. So it was almost 4 years. Oh. I apologize. Okay, I totally accept your apology. In fact, I was not just getting on your case, but actually on all the people who are actually you are very much more intelligent. You have immediately understood what is the you're agreeing to listen to the proper subject. But many of the Sadguru followers they don't. That is the real problem. I am actually addressing them when I although I used you as the scapegoat here because you asked the question, but I have no anger towards you at all. It's actually to all those people. In fact, there's no anger even towards those followers of Sadguru. My comments are to my angry retort was to drive away the Maya which is haunting these people, which is you are being cheated. So I want to drive away that ghost of Maya which is keeping you hostage and due to which you think that such people can actually save you. I want to save you from that um, ghost of Maya who presents such false gurus, who proclaim to save you but who do not. So there is no anger towards you, or I don't even have anger towards the Vasudev, Jaggi Vasudev. But I am especially against what he does, the cheating that he does. So if he becomes a devotee and he becomes a disciple of Prabhupada, that's perfect. Of course, we will accept him. But he cannot go around masquerade as a false guru and cheat people like that in the thousands and millions. Cannot do that. Somebody wants to debate something. Okay. Anyway, see, first of all, we are interested in, getting the message of Krishna across. You should be, first of all, ready to listen. What is the point in classification of Puranas or whatever? You must understand what is the goal of, first of all, the Puranas or Vedas or Upanishads, all these literature. So, first, you try to understand. You have to learn how to submissively listen, and that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. You submissively listen. Pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Just dry debates won't do anything. Okay, so all right. So thank you all very much. Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Ādi-līlā ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.